Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to your immediate post-match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble podcast. It's past making a conversation out of this or try to make light or make a joke or find any positives. It's done now. It's absolutely done. Will he be sacked? Probably not. Knowing this board, probably not. But it's beyond it now. It's beyond everything. To be honest with you, after sitting watching that, absolute dog shit for 90 minutes. Absolute no plan. Do you know what I said to the guys at the end of the watch along? How many times did we genuinely work the ball into the 6-yard box to give our strikers a chance? How many times against Dundee? Fucking D. Anyway, promised myself I wouldn't get angry. So yeah, hello and welcome everybody. Get your comments and that in. I'm done. I'm finished. Iain, how are you?
Oh, I don't think you really want the answer to that question right now. I mean, I could go off more than you. And you promising yourself not to get angry is like me promising myself I won't eat another biscuit. It's just never going to happen. Mate, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else you can say about this. We all expected what happened tonight to happen. There's not one person out there that didn't think that this was a possibility. We're probably more happy that we actually, not happy, but unexpected got a point because that's not the way it's been going recently. And of all the games over the festive period, including this, because it's the tail end of it, but the one game we actually turned up and won was the one game we all thought we'd get an absolute doing in. I would quite happily have won every other game and taken nothing from that.
Kenny, how are you?
Pissed off. We've turned into a pantomime.
Mm-hmm.
We've turned into the 1990 Celtic team that couldn't get away from him and get in. It's ridiculous. I'm used to, man. It could be a right rabble, you're no joking. Have some dignity, big man, and take your Belgian arse somewhere else and let somebody else get a tune at these players and get the dressing room buzzing again, because if top to bottom, this club stinks. 9th, 10th of January, not even a floaty of signing, linked with everybody on the planet. Nobody in the door. Linked with 38-year-old defenders. I don't know, man. I'm just and you say, Martin, that was crass. That was bloody ridiculously bad. I mean, I heard the boy in the commentator saying that hardly both keepers had hardly anything to do. It was just a pure, I don't know, man. It was a worst game of football I've ever watched for a long time, and we didn't help ourselves.
And by the way, Kenny, see for the possession that we had, Dundee were a much better team.
Oh, they played football against us, and that's how bad it was, because they weren't great. So let's not be kidded. They weren't great, but we made them look amazing again. And every time we step in a bus to go somewhere else, we're absolute crap. I don't know, man. It's hard. I don't usually go like this. I try and find some sort of sentence to talk things through. But see now, as you say, Martin, I don't know where you go from here. There's only one way: you get rid of the manager for a start. But it's the worry about who comes in. What happens then again? Because this has happened time and time again. Mm-hmm. This isn't new ground for us. This is continuing. Your bills, your zeals, your whatever else, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm hoping that some of the comments have got ideas, because I'm lost, completely lost. Yeah. They're no sack him, Martin.
No, they won't sack him. They absolutely 100% won't sack him at all. And like I say, I mean, it's beyond the Pedro Caixinha now. It's beyond your Graham Murray when he took over as caretaker. It's beyond Michael Beale and his ridiculous time in charge of our football club. It's beyond that now, Iain. It's got worse. And do you know what? Kevin Wilson, thank you very much for the support, my friend, and a channel member. Martin, these players have thrown Clement under the bus. I agree with that to a certain extent, but Ian Clement's thrown himself under the bus at the same time with his substitutions. We had about 45 attackers on that park tonight, and we still couldn't create a decent chance.
Yeah, ended the game with 6-7 attackers, which is an absolute sign of desperation on Clement's side of things. Absolute desperation, and not even the right ones. I mean, he brings on Matondo, who did nothing.
Why?
Cortez did more than Matondo in the first 10 seconds of being on the pitch than what Matondo did the entire 45 minutes. Absolute waste of a shirt. I know a lot of people are saying that about Warburton. Warburton's team would wipe the floor with this lot. He's the only manager who has a worse win ratio than Clement. Pedro is better. Beale's better. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is better. I think Marty was even better. That says a lot. That says everything you need to know about this man, and every single one of them got chased. So why is this man still here? I mean, to me, he looked like a man who knew that if he didn't get a result tonight, he's gone. That's what he looked like. And if from what we're hearing from Dundee is right, it's the first time you've heard the fans giving their opinion at the ground. The board, I know that we sit in his hand that he won't get sacked. He probably won't get sacked. He'll be here to the end of the season. But the board cannot keep him in. If the fans turn and they lose the fans, they've got nothing. So we can't keep doing. I know we can't keep doing this every year. But as Martin, as you've argued with Connor and others, you can if it's not going right, and it ain't going right. I had to stop myself there because I'm desperate not to swear. I want to get it all out, but I'm going to try my best not to. But you can't keep this going. I put a comment in our WhatsApp group at halftime saying at the moment we are in a battle for a European place, not just second, a European place. Because if this keeps going, we could end up slipping down that table. We are not that far away. We should be miles ahead of Aberdeen and Dundee, considering the results they've got, but we're not. So we are at risk of finishing outside the top two in what is deemed as a two-horse league.
It's a one horse league. It's a one horse league.
Definitely.
There's no two horses about it. The other horses went to Asda and then went for a chippy and then went back up the road and went to its bed. And the other horse is just continuing to trot down the street, laughing and joking at the other horse that's sitting in its bed. Charles, super chat, thank you very much, Charles. Philip Clement out. Anyone says different needs their head looked at. People saying we can't afford it, but the longer you keep him, the more money we will lose in the long run. And Kenny, 100%. I don't buy this. We can't afford to sack him. We can't afford to keep him.
That's it. That's the sentence. You can't afford to keep him now. But if a new manager did come in, he would need to buy for the Scottish League. I think we're the only league that still takes ginger bottles for transfer kitty, because I don't know what we're going to get the cash for. I really don't, because if we're into a few days into January and they're not done anything now, there's a lot of worry in Rangers fans again about where we get the transfers from. If we hold on to this guy, we're going to end up, as Ian said there, we're going to be struggling for Europa Conference by the end of it, because look at the amount of draws this guy gets, or we get the odd loss away from home. It's time to go, boys. You know what it is? It's time to go. We've had enough. Rangers fans have had enough. How much more do we need to put up with?
I understand, Ian, that it was a bit of a rotated back line. For me, Ridvan done some good things tonight at right back, but also at times struggled, and that's, acceptable for him to struggle in a position where he doesn't have a right foot, right? So it's going to be doubly difficult for him. Jeffrey's been at left back all season. Robin Proper couldn't tackle a fish supper. And Insiala in for his very, very first game. Out with Dundee's goal, looked okay, but not great. So I can appreciate that at times tonight it was always going to be a bit of a struggle with that back line, but not to the extent that we made Dundee look really, really good, Ian.
Any manager worth their salt, and fair play to the Dundee manager, and he's come out and he said, when you're up against Ridvan, make sure he goes on his right, because he can't do it. When you're up against Yefte, just cut inside because he's got a young lad next to him. And if you got running at Robin Proper, just run at him, because he'll fall over, because that's what he does. I'm not going to sit here and have a go at Insiala. He's been put in a very...
Can I just cut in there, Ian? Apologies. Can I just cut in and come straight back to you and go, who at Rangers scouted Robin Proper, right? Yeah, okay, I got a bit ahead of myself. That joke's done now. That joke's gone. I got that wrong, right? But who scouted him and went, I tell you what, he's a really composed centre-back. He can pass it out of play. He's good at intercepting challenges, and he's phenomenal in the air. Who scouted that guy? Because none of that stuff's true.
Only two people I can think of that have scouted him, and one is the manager, and two, Niels Coppen. That's the only two people I can put, because they're the only two people that have a knowledge of that area of Europe. I think you got that round the wrong way there, Lyndon B. He's not terrible proper. He's proper terrible. But I don't know what they saw of all the players and all the centre backs we've been linked with. Then I don't know where they picked him up from. Is it did the team he played for want him gone? So they thought, right, as soon as a team comes in with any type of money, he's out. We'll play it up that he stayed on a year to help us out and all the rest of it. But he's useless, absolutely useless. I mean, Enciala looked like, if you had to look at it from someone looking from the outside looking in, you'd have said that Enciala was the seasoned professional tonight and Proper was coming in for his first start. That's how you would deem those two centre-backs. I mean, Enciala wasn't perfect, no doubt he wasn't. But he's a young player playing his first ever first team match in any country. I thought he did a couple of bits wrong, but for the most part, I thought he was all right. But that's not even in itself. That's not enough. You cannot be all right and play for Rangers.
You can be all right if the person next to you can defend him.
Yeah, I mean
and help you through the game as a young person making your first start. Robin Proper was a captain of our football club tonight, Ian. And as Smudge is saying, I don't know if he's the worst ever captain, right? But he is not a captain. That is where Rangers Football Club is right now. Robin Proper is our fucking captain.
I mean, I can't see anywhere else on that team who you put that captain's armband on. Maybe Hadji, but he's not a captain. He's not probably will captain and has captained Romania, but he's not in a position in the field where you'd give a captaincy to. In my eyes, I'm quite traditional in the fact that it's either one of your centre back pairing or a centre midfielder, because they can get a grasp of the whole pitch in that sense. But he's just useless. And I think if it wasn't for injuries, he's not getting anywhere near that team, because Balogun and Suter would both keep him out, no problem at all. And I think it was proven that when Suter did go down injured, it was Balogun that came on for him, not Proper. Proper only came back into the fold because Balogun got injured. I know that a few people were relieved that his suspension doesn't start until the next game. I think I'd have been happier if he just sat this out, because I think with King and Enciala, I think we might have done better, but we'll never know that, and that might just be anger getting on top of me. But that back four, it is, for want of a better term, makeshift, because we haven't got anything else to play there. But we should still have enough to repel Dundee, for Christ's sake.
Enough to create? We hardly created anything. And Kenny, I'm going to read you a stat, mate, right? In the last 12 months, this is from Zimmerman on Twitter, in the last 12 months, Rangers have won 8 out of 20 away league games, taking 30 points from a possible 60.
And that's unacceptable completely. When Chris Boyd was saying it earlier on, how many points we got away from home, and that alone should sack any manager, never mind what's going on. I'm not going to hang this round Proper's neck, right? Because I know we're all just having a conversation about Proper and nobody else, but a lot of players went missing. See, as soon as they scored, it started again. You seen them going missing. They weren't interested. There was gaps appearing. And see, the shape we have off the ball is mental. I mean, the amount of times we don't follow our runners when a team scores against us is crazy. And I was watching some of the movement for the Rangers players, and they were lost. So it was from top to bottom. And I believe that Agaman was hung out to dry, because there was no substitution to back him up or change a formation. Or don't be wrong, when they took Hadji off, you've seen a bit of an upturn, but it was nothing. It went nowhere. It went side to side, 25-yard box. And I think it was really late on in the game when Diamandi had a 20-yard shot, which hit the post. And I put on the Rabble WhatsApp page, if you can hit a ball like that, never mind what your coaches told you to do in that game. You scud them wherever you can and try and get us some sort of mistake happening so we can get a tap in for our strikers or whatever. I think the full team was useless today. I think they were absolutely terrible again. And it seems to me that we have got rid of our core value older players far too quick. At least having them in the bench or the dressing room to make a bit of a go at it, to talk to the players, to tell them what it's needed in, like your Scott Arfields or Ryan Jack, or anybody that's got the DNA of the club in that needs to dig a result out. I mean, we'll remember the Aberdeen game where the wee man came on and scored 2 to win the game in like a minute. These players need to know what it means to finish a game off blood, sweat and tears. We've not got the players for that. We just haven't. There's no bottle in some of these guys.
There's none. Absolutely no bottle in them at all. Absolutely none. Ian, we started the game with a possession. It was obvious what Dundee wanted to do. They were well organised. It's amazing what a well organised defence can do in it. They were well organised. They were looking to hit in the counter, but they were looking to hit in the counter by actually playing some football. Now, the first goal for Dundee, Dundee's only goal. Can you explain the defending to me? Can you explain why 2 Dundee players are in our box with at least 5 yards of space?
I saw a lot of complaints on the watch along regarding NCL and his header because it went straight up in the air and it didn't go out the way which he should have done. Okay, that's a young defender making a bit of a mistake, but at that point we've still got 5 or 6 opportunities to get rid of that ball. It comes back in. Tiffany gets it. Proper should do a lot better. Jeff Day should Jeff Day at that point should stop the cross getting in. Doesn't. Ridvan should be tucking in. Doesn't. And when the ball breaks to the Dundee player, Diamande and Barron are in the box watching him. And I made a point that we do the same thing in both boxes. We don't do anything. We stand and watch. And that's what happened tonight. We had, like I say, 5, 6, 7 opportunities to get rid of that ball. We didn't. Collectively, the midfield and defence, rickets all over the place. And Dundee scored. But you can, even in that short period, that 6 minutes, you couldn't begrudge Dundee taking the lead.
No, you couldn't. But Kenny, do you know, I'm sitting on the couch watching the game, and I can see as soon as Nsiala's header goes towards the byline and the Dundee players running to get on it, I'm sitting back because I'm not pretending I'm psychic or anything, but I'm saying to myself, this is going to be a goal. This is definitely going to be a goal. You just know it's coming.
Funny that, eh? We're all doing it. We're all watching to see what players ball watching. I mean, the closest player to the boy running in to hit the shot was Diamande, and he's just standing there. Mm-hmm. It was frightening. It's all very well saying about the centre backs, but it was already by Nsiala, right? It was already away for him. It was the surrounding players of the boy, and it was the same with the knockdown for Hibernian's goal. They react quick, we react last, but it's in our box, like you're saying, man. This is our boxes. We're defending that with blood, sweat, and tears, and that's why I'm a big fan. I'll put my neck in the line. That's why I'm a big fan of a big Porteous. I could be coached into something really, really good for us at a small price. I would take a gamble on something like that, but we don't seem to take a gamble on anything.
No, we don't.
Yeah, man, you're right. 6 million, Martin. 6 million quid, whatever, for a project academy. Celtic buy the 3 players for 7.5 million. Hatate made it. Was it Hatate made it and Kyogo 7.5 million. We buy Diamande for 6. Brilliant, eh? Genius.
Yep. That is. And there wasn't. I say there wasn't much of a response. We got back on the ball, Ian, but we weren't really doing much with it. And obviously, we'll talk about the journey goal in a second. But up until then, Dundee were more than comfortable.
More than comfortable, because what did we do? We horseshoed it. And anytime we looked like we were going to break, we stopped. And Conor Barron was one of the biggest contributors to that tonight, stopping on the ball, taking too long, and then having to go backward because Dundee get back into their shape. And it's something we've complained about all season. We do not go forward quick enough. The only games I've seen us go forward quickly were Nice, Tottenham, Celtic in the cup final and in the league recently. We pick and choose our games when we want to play football, and I don't know if it's Clermont. I mean, again, I go back to the Clermont. A point away from home for Clermont is as good as a win. That's what it feels like. It's like Le Guen. 1 point away from home is a good result, because in your top 5 leagues and in the likes of France and in Germany and England, maybe a point away from home is a good thing. But in Scotland, you should be taking all 3 points, regardless of who you play, particularly if you are us or them. So we just don't do things quick enough. We just quite happily get the ball, stop, turn around, go back. You do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. That's what it feels like all the time. And
the stats in that first half as well, Kenny. It was like 7 shots to 1 for Dundee or something like that. Or they had a lot more shots than us, more shots on target. Just embarrassing, mate. Honestly, and we come on these reactions and. The way we like to break it down, we have a wee chat about the game, and then we do individual performances, and then we say good night to everybody. We'll see you soon. Kenny, we could literally just copy and paste every single reaction away.
Aye, every one so far. Even the during the day ones as well, which I tune into. It's yeah. I mean, the most important thing about the stats about the one you were talking about, the 7 shots, was they had a goal. We were up there at the end of the park for a good 10 minutes or 7 minutes. They take one chance down the wing, cut inside, and they score.
So there you go. 90% possession. They had 6 shots. We had 1.
So right there is the reason that I think everybody knows that it's for the board down. It's not just Clermont, right? It is, but it's not just. I mean, your recruitment as well. there's so much talent in our league and leagues that are similar to our league, so we can hit the ground running when we buy the players, that I do feel the recruitment's let us down as well. It's not just one thing, it's a lot of things. But right now, we need a coach to get a tune out the players we have. He's not the man to do it.
And Kenny, there is players there. There's definitely players in that
We're
team.
2 or 3 players away from a right decent team. Don't be kidded. It's just
Now,
he doesn't seem to get the best of them.
Now, that could be down to many factors. That could be
Mhm.
down to the players just don't like him. And they're, I hate the phrase, but not down in tools, but maybe not giving it that extra 10% when needed.
Lost the dressing room type of thing.
Lost the dressing room. Or it could
Yep.
simply be he doesn't have a clue what he's doing.
Well, listen to his interviews, for God's sake. I mean, he's the one that's thrown himself under the bus when he's talking the way he's talking to half the guys that we listen to, because every single one of your faces, when I tune into all the different Rabbles, and you hear when you play like his post-match, pre-match, whatever, you see the faces and the people that's on this programme. They're sitting there and they can't believe some of the stuff he's saying. He's absolutely off his rocker. And I think if he's saying anything similar to that in a dressing room, when the players need somebody to wallop them in, fire them up, get their belly and their blood going, and saying things that resonate in an individual's point of view or whatever way they think of life, if you can manage when it's really hard, 1-1, 1-0 down, you've got to tune out your players, Walter Smith, all the kind of guys. But I don't think he's got that in him. I think he repeats the same thing, just a kind of slightly different way. And and I know as human beings, you start getting bored with that, mate. You would sit there like that, right? No problem, pal. I've heard this before.
Yeah. Smudge has gifted 5 Rangers Rabble memberships. Thank you very much, Smudge, for the support, and also Smudge is a channel member. And there's some big changes coming to the memberships as well, which will be all revealed on Monday. Big Dave, I've got your super chat there, buddy. I'm going to play it after I play this. Kenny alluded to it, so here we go. And by the way, there's some rumours going about that he has a wee pop at Iggerman, which I hope is not true. But let's hear what the manager had to say to Sky Sports after another dismal away performance.
Luke, what's your thoughts on tonight's draw?
That it's, of course, bad that you go behind after 6 minutes with not good defending in the box. And after that, we had the ball all game, but we were not decisive enough in the final third with runs, with actions, and with decisive action. So we had 1 goal. We had 1 time the post or the crossbar, but not enough clear good chances, because in our last pass, in our elimination in the box, we were not good enough today.
It's fair to say you didn't do enough to win the game. Would that be fair?
Yeah, in that way, we did enough by having the ball and coming in the final third, but we were not good enough in the final third today to make the right decisions in the dribble, in the last pass, in the finishing. We're not good enough today in that.
How frustrating is it? Again, you're giving yourself work to do, conceding so early.
Yeah, that's frustrating, of course. You give a lot of belief to the opponent also in that way. On the other side, we didn't give away much today again. I don't remember one big save of Liam today. I think Clinton did a good game for his first game. But you lose the points because today on the offensive part, we didn't show enough to make the difference and to break open the game that Dundee had to come also. So now they could defend with 10 players behind the ball all the time, with 1 striker deep and hoping for transitions. We had the ball, we took the most of the transitions really, really well out, but we were not decisive enough in the final third.
When you get back on level terms, do you expect to kick on after that and really take the game to Dundee after that in terms of going and scoring and going on and making sure you get the job done this time around?
Yes, that's true. You make the hard work to come back, but you need to kick on indeed to be more decisive. We had enough moments to be there. We were there a lot in and around 16, but we didn't make enough of the right choices there.
Is it happening too often?
No, because the last couple of weeks we scored a lot of goals, but then we concede also a lot of goals. Today, we didn't concede many, also not many chances. And it's also not that we were playing defensive football to not concede. We were a lot of times with almost all our team on their half, with a lot of players in the box, with a lot of players around the box. Hamza was for me too much on the sides today and not enough in the box. So that's.
Yep, done with that. Absolutely done with that. I'm sorry if he's going to even try and pull up Igaman. I thought if that's the first player he goes to pull up, go, just leave, Kenny. Nah, I'm not having that.
I mean,
and see when you're asked, sorry, Kenny, when you're asked, is this happening too often? And your answer to that is no.
No.
Get the fuck.
Wow. So I didn't think that the reactions for him was going to get much worse, but I don't believe I've heard as much pish in all my life, especially as you say, the guy who has saved him a job, and he decides to try and ping him out like that. What a roaster. I mean, the only guy that's kept him there is Igaman, and nearly single-handedly turned a Hibernian game around himself. He was up there himself. There was no imagination getting into that box from him at all. He ended up pulling right back towards about 20, 25 yards for the goal to try and get the ball. And that idiot singles him out because he didn't score a goal. No, I'm sorry. I think he's if he talks like that, I'm going to repeat it. If he talks like that, I think he's lost some of the players. You're right. Some of the players haven't got the bottle for this league, and I think that's where we go wrong when we recruit. This league is quicker than anybody gives it credit for. There's players that came here that have been a lot of money, a lot of big reputations over the many, many years that came here and went away to another move maybe 3-4 years later and went, that league deserves credit. That league is murder to play in. So that's a recruitment's job. That's a coach's job to figure that out of who we're getting in. But too many times these players have hid for me. Too many times. We could throw it all on Clement, but it's everything at the minute for me. But we need him out. We need him out right now to get a better tune out of the players before we end up, as Iain said, looking at Conference League football at best, which is nowhere near where Rangers should be.
No, it's not all on Clement, Iain, because as I can't remember if we said this when we started or we said it before we came on. The recruitment team should have been looking at the state that our squad was in. And within at least the first couple of days in January, we should have had a centre back in the door, right? So that's on recruitment. The players aren't given enough for me, so there's blame on the players as well. But to come out and with another press conference, he does himself no favours. Ian, see if he's asked, "Is this happening too often?" Your immediate answer should be, "Yes, it absolutely is, and it's my job to fix it, and that's what I'm going to do." That saves you any hassle, and you move on.
And people would respect him more for actually coming out and saying, yeah, this just isn't good enough. We've got some serious work to do. We've got to look at ourselves and make this better and all the rest of it. But to come out and just say, no, it's fine. No, everything's good. Le Guen. It just smacks Le Guen. And I keep going back to it, but that's what it reminds me of. We know that it's happening too often. We tell everybody that it's happening too often. The fans are now beginning to tell him that it's happening too often at games. Igaman, I mean, to even contemplate having a go at Igaman, the man that's single-handedly scored more goals in the last 2 months than the whole team combined to keep him in a job is ridiculous. And let's not forget who set up Charney for the damn goal in the first place. It was Igaman.
Who was the best player on the pitch all night?
Igaman. And if it's not for Igaman's strength and Igaman knowing where to play the ball, Charney doesn't get that goal. Simple as that. And you go back to the watch along. Anybody who hasn't watched it, watch the watch along back and notice how many times they said Igaman's done so well to win that ball back there, and everyone else has just stood there watching. 2 or 3 times at least tonight. So you know what? I'm in Norwich and he's in Dundee. I can get to Glasgow probably before him. I'll pack his bags and get him gone myself.
Don't send us Grant Hanley. Don't, Iain.
Keep him. Keep Grant Hanley. See, just before Kearney scores, Kenny, Dundee were apoplectic that they should have had a penalty. Inciala's got his hands on top of him, but he just dives to the floor. For me, no penalty.
Absolute boys. No offence, but no nonsense. The guy was Nasala was just looking at the ball. He wasn't even looking at the player. Murray knew he was coming. He had a wee nose at him. Buff, down he goes. Oh, they carry on. I'm glad he did because we scored off it. So that was a nice wee return. That was a nice return for us. But in all seriousness, I'm glad that we've managed to talk through this and get back to a normal conversation, because the day I was honestly going to be struggling, I thought. But so cheers for that. At least we've got some sort of conversation with it, because I was lost. So I'm not really sure what I want to, what manager I would have if it is going to go that way or whatever else, because it is turned into a little bit of a poison chalice. I think a lot of managers would look at it and go, well, is there a budget there, or there's been how many managers in how many months, or so I don't know what's going to happen next. But if he's not out by tomorrow or whatever, then it has to fall at the board's feet for me, and the Rangers fans have to make their voice heard. You don't boycott games, Kim. I mean, the club's bigger than that, but you've got to start making your voice heard. I don't know in what way, but the board, it falls at the board's feet for me if he's not out by tomorrow.
See, if you boycott games, they 45,000 season tickets are still paid for.
Exactly.
So it makes no difference. So if you boycott games, they're losing out on what, 5,000 tickets?
Exactly. It's madness. Unless you're doing it at the start. No, I mean, Martin, if you do it at the start when it's no bought yet, but they were very, very, very clever, and I'll never forgive them for that last season. They were very clever. They waited and they told Clement to put that big statement out about there's a big massive change, we're going to do this, do that. So the season tickets both get bought. Next minute, you get a couple of Agamans and Nisiala and all the rest of it, just these kind of fringy players, which he did say was going to happen. Then he was going to hit the ground running players because he was fed it for the club. And then as soon as the season ticket money was in, the parasites changed their mind and told us there was no money. So if he's not gone by tomorrow, that's the reason that it all falls at the board for me, Martin.
If he's not gone tomorrow, and Adamski put this on Twitter as well, and he's absolutely right, if he's not gone before they get back to Glasgow, Ian, then either Patrick Stewart has no clue what he's doing or has no control.
And I would go with the latter as opposed to the former. I said, another comment I put in the watch along, if he's not sacked by the time the bus leaves, because he shouldn't even be on it. He should be given his stuff and said, make your own way, mate, because you're not coming back with us. That's it. Enough's enough. We can't keep doing it. And I know there's a lot of people.
It should be a good one, shouldn't it? Walking across the pitch.
Yeah, just walk across the pitch and get a taxi and head off to the nearest airport and head on back to Belgium, because I'm pretty sure you can get a flight from Aberdeen at least to Belgium. Worryingly, you can get a flight from Aberdeen to here, so I don't want him ending up here. But enough's enough. We can't keep doing this. Patrick Stewart, he's just not going to. I don't think he's going to do it, because I don't think the people above him, because let's not forget, he's not at the very top. He's at the top, but not the very top. The people at the very top before he came in, gave him an extension to his contract. And I think that's what saved him. And those comments are the comments of a man who is safe in his job. And that's the scary thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100% he's safe in his job. And like I say, Ian, like I was saying to Kenny, Dundee were looking for a penalty, and the one real bit of quality we showed all game, barring maybe Diamandi's strike that hits the junction, the one real bit of quality we score from.
Yeah, it was a good move from start to finish. I mean, Liam Kelly slips when he does it, but it goes to Hadji. Hadji does well to get that under control. Plays in Igaman, strength, power, pace into the middle. Plays a good ball into Czerny, and it's a quality finish from Czerny as well, because he's going away from goal. So to get it back and put it into the net was a good finish. So it was a good goal. And like I said, when we play football, we actually play quite well. That's the stupid thing. This team does have the quality and the wherewithal to actually play a good game. The managers. I know the players don't do very well, and they've got to take some blame for it as well. But the man who gets them into the point before they cross that white line is Clement, and he's obviously got his ways of wanting to do things. And I don't think the players have totally bought into that, but they have to follow out the man's instructions. So,
I hear he's a set piece coach as well.
Well, that probably stands to reason then why we can't score from a frigging set piece.
That's what I hear. I mean, it might not be true. I might just be talking nonsense like I usually do, but if he is the set piece coach, it kind of explains everything about his management, to be honest with you. Big Dave, channel member, massive super chat. Thank you very much, Big Dave. No decent manager, Kenny, would stand for these performances. Sir Walter would run the riot act and wouldn't be repeated a second time. If no money to sack Clement, just exile him until we go get a 10-pin. I'll repeat myself again. We can't afford not to sack him.
No, I'm laughing because I think it wouldn't even get to Walter Hoff, this bollocks. I think Archie Knox would have folks' arms off and hitting them early head bit.
I would.
So, but that's the problem. We've not got the bone in the coach. We've not got the spine in the team. Scottish, good players, gritty. We've not got anything because the board's allowed that not to happen. Let's not forget that. If he has to go, because every single time, even when I'm putting a coupon on, right, if a team gets a new manager, I'll back that team because I know you're going to get a song at them. And that's how easy it is to show you the point of the managers no got the board, the dressing room anymore. He's just threw Iggy Man under the bus. The best player in the last good few weeks, a diamond, even other players on the super scoreboard as a Celtic fan saying that he would take Nissi at Celtic because of how much a Rolls Royce player he is. So everybody knows, players know, other opposition fans know, he throws him under a bus because it's easy to do it. He's not the coach for us anymore. Simple as that. He's not the coach for us anymore. The players must sit. I mean, does he think the players are blind, deaf and dumb or what? Because they're going to listen to that. Are they going to see it on the TV? And you're just trying to tell me that same coach can walk into the dressing room with the same respect demanded once he comes out with these type of interviews? No way. No way.
And the big problem that the club face is that obviously the league was gone anyway, right? The league was absolutely gone.
Oh God, aye.
But now with these continuously push away performances, Ian, the crowds will drop. And I'm not saying it won't make any difference. I've seen a few comments, like, of course, catering and stuff will affect, merchandise will affect. So it will affect the club financially. But I would imagine now we are going to see the crowds significantly drop unless he's sacked.
And the only thing I probably feel sorry for in the upcoming games is Fraserburgh, because they won't make any bloody money. But it's. I mean, the way you could go about it is that you do some sort of supporter thing together where everybody subseats their ticket and nobody buys the subseats. But that's a hell of a lot of work that you got to put in. But it's not just the ticket sales though. It's like you said, the catering at the ground on the day, the merchandise that we sell on the day, Edmonton house take-ins on the day, all of that stuff. Combine it all together. If they stay away for one match, it makes no difference. But if they stay away completely for a set period of time, it makes a massive difference, and the players will see it as well. Then it affects people coming in because, well, if your club's in that turmoil, I don't want anything to do with your club. So there's all factors that come from this. And if you lose the fans, you don't get them back. So you have to act and you have to get the fans back on side. And the only way you're going to do that right now is to kick him out the door and tell him not to come back. That's the only way.
Can I ask you a question, right? Just to hope you don't mind, Martin.
No, carry on.
I remember we were looking at the comments there about it, and somebody putting capitals that it's not really to do with the fact that the money's already been spent. It's the visual effect and it's showing the board that what's coming. And I do sometimes, I think that's an agreement for me. I think maybe even when the seats are empty, it's a bit of a statement as well. And the very bottom of that sentence was, rather than the Union Bears singing through win, loses and draw, that is a point. If they're meant to be this, and by the way, I don't know any of them, so it's not as if I'm attacking them as people, right? I'm just saying if they're a movement, which is meant to for the greater good of your club, right? They sing and all the rest of it, great. Then, and I know they put banners up and all the rest of it, great, but would it not be a bigger statement if that anomaly didn't turn up?
Yeah.
Would that be a statement as well?
That's it. Behind the Copeland's empty. There's no atmosphere in the ground because they do generate the atmosphere regardless.
The guy might have a point.
I know back in when I was younger going to them, we didn't have that type of thing, and the atmosphere was organically grown throughout the entire stadium. But now you do have that. Every club has an ultra section, and I've been to Ibrox plenty of times where the place is like a morgue when they shut up. I think I was at the game where they didn't turn up, and they purposely didn't turn up for one game. For
I think
a little bit, and it was absolutely a morgue. So if they go out, but they've also got to be the ones that start. I mean, I'm not one for protests, and I'm not always like that. I'm not the first thing I'd go to, but I think we've reached that point where maybe we're getting there. That if the board need to take the fans seriously, that maybe protests need to happen as well, and it's something that they can sort out. Yeah. They've got they want to be taken seriously by the club. They want to have this big stand in. Well, here's your chance. Go out there and make that big stand now and lead us towards it. Why not? For want of a better term, a bit kind of pitchforks and torches there. But what else are we going to do? What else are we going to do?
What else can we do, to be brutally honest with you? And I don't like doing this when we're all raging and pissed off, and it's been a horrible result. But if it's your first time tuning in, folks, it would be greatly appreciated if you could throw a like on the video. It helps to share it throughout the YouTube algorithm. And if you like what you hear and you want to tune in more, I know that I'm really selling this here, then consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to support us even more, there's memberships available. Links are in the description, but I'm not going to go on about them. Loads of content. Super Sal, we are the people. Channel member, Super Chat, thank you very much, Super Sal. Kenny, still reckon the lack of Scottish players is a big problem. 140 million%.
I mean, we've all it was a long time ago, right? We saw the glory days, right? But there was always a nucleus of Scottish talent. There was always a nucleus of, even if it wasn't Scottish talent, they were playing in the Scottish League. So I think that's where the identity of the team has been lost, and it's a very important thing, an identity of a team, because we haven't got one. I think every player's looking at other players to see who's going to drag them out drag them across the field, but there's nobody there to do that, and I think that's a great point. And we've been saying this for weeks, but Martin, we know Hoy's different podcasts that you should be buying for your league is your bread and butter. You need to win the league. You know, if you're going to do that, you pick the best players for the league. Not all of them, but you need to get a nucleus of the best players in that league that know how to play in that league, know how fast it is, how unorthodox it is, how you play against different formations, 5 at the back, and you buy them. But we don't seem to be doing that.
Can I ask you, Kenny? Can I ask you, right? And I'm not saying he's good enough to play for Rangers. I'm just talking about tonight specifically, right? See if we had Simon Murray playing, right, instead of bringing on Matondo. Does he make a difference to that Rangers team?
So I'm laughing because there was a page I was on and Simon Murray commented on it, right? This is a while back, and I put on it, some player, you're big man. Now, for Hibernian and all that, I watched this guy. He would run through for his team, and he's all right. He's an engine, but the likes of him, Martin Boyle, I said before, Armstrong for Kelly, Watson for Kelly, Kent at the back. Is that his name? No, it's not. Is it Kent?
Hearts. Frankie Kent.
Frankie Kent. There's hundreds of these wee gems, Martin, that's floating about, like you said there about Murray, that would have grit and determination. Now, remember some of the teams that we saw over the years that you kind of thought, but they do a job for us, and they come in, and you know, they were great. Some players for the Scottish League. So to answer your question, Murray would have done a better job with Matondo, 100%. Does Walter Smith buy a Matondo? Does any?
No, Walter Smith buys a Simon Murray.
That's what I mean. It's crazy. I mean, the Stevie G, right? The biggest mistake that happened there was Stevie G went a long way to make a right mess of things to figure out that he should have just done what he should have done in the first place. Was him and Beale stayed here. They went all the way around this wheel and realised, hold on, you're a coach, I'm a manager. What have we done? It's mental. They should have stayed, and it would have been a lot different. It would have been, but obviously all the shit hit the fan with the money and all the rest of it. But I saw everybody kind of looking at different managerial types and who they would like. Can I throw a question to you two and ask who you would like if that came about?
Is any of the names Sean Dyche or Davy Moyes?
Well, Moyes is just, apparently he'll be by Saturday, he'll be the new Everton manager. Watching it now. So,
right, go. What's your names then? Throw them at us.
No, I'm asking you. Who would you like?
Well, I'll bring up Charles' super chat. I might as well. Charles always supports the channel. Thank you very much, Charles. Go get Dyche or Moyes, Ian. I've got absolutely no idea who could be the next Rangers manager. No idea, because I'm not in the world of football. And I don't know about contracts and wages, etc., etc. That's something that our board should know. Probably don't have a clue. Probably don't have a Scooby-Doo, right? But Charles is obviously we go get Dyche now. If Moyes is going to be the next Everton manager. Sean Dyche at Rangers.
A year ago, I'd have probably said yeah before he joined, or 2 years ago, and moved to it. I think I did say Sean Dyche would be a shout. He's out of work, and it was the sort of place he went. But after watching his Everton team, I'm not so convinced anymore. I know that if they hadn't had the points deduction, they would have actually probably finished last season higher than Brighton or something. But his football doesn't inspire. They are not hard to beat, and they do leak a lot of goals. So I don't see replacing one leaky, boldy manager for another one would be quite the way we want to go right now. I would have taken Moyes if Everton hadn't got rid of Dyche. It might have been an option. A lot of people say Mourinho. That's not going to happen ever.
No.
I don't think you get Mourinho to come over to Scotland unless they're playing a team in Scotland, and that's the only time he's coming. Muscat, I think we missed the boat with Muscat. I don't think he'll ever come now. We had the chance last year. We turned him down. He's not going to come, and quite rightly. At the top of my head, absolutely no clue, and I don't know anybody who would actually want to take it on.
Ian, can you take the next 2 super chats? I need to make a quick phone call.
Well, you are applying for the job on the back of your Football Manager.
Let's just say I need to make a phone call.
Okay. Next 2 super chats. Which ones hasn't he actually put up? Okay, Kenny, here you go then.
Okay.
Have we ever seen the assistant manager come off the bench to help? What on earth does Ray do for this team? That's probably the good one to answer, because Martin will probably offer him out for another fight if we let him answer this question. So
he wouldn't be the only one. I've done it actually at the stadium. He's a strange. No. I mean, I'm going to just keep saying the same thing probably all the podcasts that I do here. Has anybody went over the coast to get Barry Ferguson into your club? So one of the greatest ever captains for winning things, and nobody's any manager, not even Gio, nobody goes out and says, "Listen, we'll offer you that. Can you please come in here?" And we need these type of managers that and assistant managers that are passionate but no half-wits. And I don't care if he hears me or no. I know for a fact that he's caused more problems than he has benefits before. Mr. Ray, I'm just going to call him in case Martin kicks off. I don't think he offers much at all. He offers nothing.
He offers nothing.
Nothing, and he's a bit of a character, right? Let's put it that way, and that's a polite one. And I do feel that the likes of there's so many better opportunities out there for folk to come in and be a backroom staff member than that. And I said that to Ian there, Barry Ferguson's, and the list goes on. The list goes on. Probably people I don't even remember. So for the answer to that question, he does nothing. And he offers nothing bar argumentative behaviour and getting himself in trouble and making an arse of himself. And we've got a brass neck with that one for me. And I think that epitomises everything that's going on. Not just him, but I think it epitomises where the ducks are not in a line for me all the way through that. And I do believe I'll champion it again. I do believe Big Barry should be somewhere in that club for being, was it the second greatest captain of Rangers or something like that? So, nah. Pissed off with that.
I got a message there. But I've just seen online that Clement has said he's 200% sure that the board back him. But I've also had a message to say that he might be getting sacked. So either the board are 200% behind him, or it might have happened. I'm not too sure. I was trying to find out.
So we're exactly where we were before.
Pretty much exactly right back where we were. I was making a couple of messages there. And
I was hoping you're going to come out with some good news.
It was the quickest phone call I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it was a WhatsApp, if I'm being honest. It was a WhatsApp. So thank you very much, Luke, for the super chat. Thank you for the support. And Kevin Wilson, if you sack Clement, then at least sack the useless players as well, but that won't happen. And Martin, you got my respect. That's probably the first person in history that's ever said that to me. You can't sack the players, Ian. You've got to sack the manager.
Yes, unfortunately, you can't sack a player, isn't it? Because
very unfortunate.
It could make life a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, the manager picks the team, the manager does the tactics, the manager makes them go out on the pitch and play the way he wants to play. So therefore, the buck stops at the manager, and it's a result-driven business, and our results away from home are awful. And if it wasn't for our home form, we'd be lucky to be top 6 right now. And that's not an exaggeration, and it's not me getting angry. And Neil F., if you need to go, mate, you need to go. But I'm hoping that your second comment regarding that he has been sacked or is about to be sacked turns out to be the correct one. And if I don't wake up tomorrow morning finding out that he's gone, I will be bitterly disappointed.
Yeah. There's always going to be room. Somebody could have just sent a WhatsApp saying he's definitely getting sacked, and people, because we're so desperate for it to happen, people just take it and run with it. So we shall wait and see on that one. Toronto Bear, welcome back to the members. Thank you very much, my friend. Been a long-term supporter of the Rangers Rabble. It is greatly appreciated. Right, okay, let's touch on some players then before we go, Kenny. Bayrami again being singled out in the comments quite a lot. A wonderful touch in the first half, and I mean, I don't know why he doesn't hit it across the goalkeeper, but he skies it over the bar. But barring that, completely anonymous.
Yeah, his work rate off the ball for me is questionable. It has been for a long time. I think when he plays in the left wing, and that sounds really crazy because everybody was asking him to go and play in the 10. We seem to get more dynamic. It was more dynamic for me when he played on the wing. I don't know why. When we had him in the wing and Cherny in the other wing, it seemed to be a lot more chances coming in that way. And I know everybody's saying, "Oh, play him in a 10, play him a 10." But we've got a few players that could probably play in the 10 now. Yeah, he was hiding. He was ball watching for the goal. He wasn't the only one, Martin. I'm going to be honest, he wasn't the only one, so I'm not going to single him out. But he's worked right off the ball for me, needs to improve. And I don't think it goes back to the Birmingham game with the manager talking to individual players when I noticed that Cherny was actually floating back more than Yilmaz, and the camera went on to him and he was standing joking with Cherny. And I'm going, if that's a manager we've had in the past, they're roaring the face after him. And it's the same with Bayrami. He wouldn't get away with that with a manager that had a bit of gusto in his belly. So, yeah.
Well, that gets back to Liam's comment that, what are the assistants doing? How many football teams do you see, especially abroad, more so abroad, that when something goes wrong, every single member of that backroom team's up. If the players aren't performing, every single member of that backroom team is screaming at their players. All Clement does is, come on.
I know. His hands going, come on. And you're thinking, hold on a wee second here. Your backroom staff's more interested in being argumentative to the other bench than they are actually to their own individual players if they spot something. I agree with you with that, Martin. I've saw that a few times. They don't seem to be very animated, didn't they, most of the games?
No. And also Jeff Day, I think, Iain, that's been a few weeks now and quite a few times in patches where, he's good at running with the ball at his feet, but it's almost as if in certain games he gets to that byline and goes, what did I do?
Although I think you can look at it, he gets to that byline a couple of times, he looks in the box and there's no bugger there. So maybe some of his crosses are just pure frustration that he just whips it as hard as he can because there's nobody there. Or he has to cut back and he has to pass it back to somebody else. So it could be a bit of both that he's getting it, but he is. Oh no, I sound like a Clement bit coming up there. He is young, and still has a bit to learn about the game. I know he's in the first team, but he is frustrating. But he does so many good things as well. So you kind of one negates the other. So there's more to come from Jeff. They have no doubt about it. And it goes back to another manager might get that out of him.
Yeah, he might. Connor Barron, Kenny. Is it a confidence thing with him as well, do you think? Or is that just the kind of player that Connor is, where he's just a breaker up a play and then tries to play a simple pass?
No, I like the boy, I do. And I think it's a very, very hard circumstance that he's been fired into. We're not giving him time to do what he needs to do and how he does. We saw at the start he's a good player. It's just we're all over the place again. And I think it's very, very difficult to fully judge the boy where his talents lie. He's a good player. We saw at Aberdeen, we saw at the start when he came to Rangers. He's in and out the team now again, so he's unsettled. I was laughing at that comment there because how many times we saw Danilo and Egaman playing, they have been phenomenal, and he's not done it again for I don't know how long.
I know.
That's what I'm laughing at, man. Can't believe it. And it was, I forgot all about it, Martin, until I saw that, and I went, pfft. And that's why I laughed. I went, do you know what? It was awesome when they were playing together because they were bouncing off one another, running off one another, and we were getting imagination in the box when we needed it. So the possession we had was actually an end product. So good for whoever. I don't know who put that up there, but it was it made me laugh that he's not even done that either for a while.
It's absolutely mental, to be brutally honest with you. Super Sal back in again with another super chat. Thank you very much. Massive respect to everyone in the Rabble. You must feel like you work for the Samaritans sometimes. Well, Rangers has got a funny way of doing that to you, Iain. And see, to be brutally honest, you come on to a YouTube forum and people can choose whether to watch or whether to not watch. And we're fortunate that thousands of people watch this, right? Obviously not all Rangers supporters, because I'm pretty sure before this is finished, we will be all over Celtic Facebook and Celtic Twitter, and there'll be clips and blah, blah, blah. Fine, fair enough. We put ourselves in the position to do that. But I'm starting to get worried a little bit because I don't know how many times we can keep having the same conversations, Ian, and it feels like I've been repeating myself now for about 4 years.
Well, while he's still here, and I know I'm batting on and doing the same things over and over again, while he's still here, you'll be having the same conversations for at least another 4 months. So be prepared for that. And then to go with that comment from Super Sal, that'll be the number I'm calling as soon as we're done with this tonight. I will be on the phone to the Samaritans trying to help. Hopefully they can talk me down. But it's... Again, like you've said it before tonight on this very pod, you can just copy and paste a couple of things, change a couple of words, and you've got the whole thing over and over and over again. I do feel that me, you, and Kenny do come on here more often than not when we're on the back of a bad result.
Yes, Kenny's fault.
Maybe we should look at the reaction pods and all the rest of it. I think again, I said that if the results going south, I could have gone off to the Rabble wrestling stuff to carry on creating what I'm creating there for everyone in the Discord, but I couldn't because I was on this tonight. And so where do we go? I don't know. One thing I want to happen more than likely won't, but I don't know where we go, and I don't know what else we can say on what's going on.
No. And just finally, and again, I'll throw out please like, share, and subscribe. I'll throw that out there as well. And if you're watching on Twitter, by the way, retweet and follow and all that good stuff. Mark Doyle, member for 23 months. McInnes needs to be our manager, knows the game here, and we'll look at the players here first and foremost, not to mention knows what is required at Rangers, Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of Derek McInnes anyway. I have, but I can't exactly go against the words of the man who I had in dear and good regard was Walter Smith. It was his views, wasn't it? The next manager of Rangers should be at some stage in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Derek McInnes, just because of the way he handles himself, the way he sets his teams up, the Scottish League players. But for me, he's a good manager, yep. But he got opportunity to come and manage us and said no. I know it was a really dodgy circumstance for to carry on with these deals and etc. etc. For me, I would have somebody go to Kevin Muscat and plead like hell and get a different dynamic attitude into the club from start to finish if we've got the finances to do that. I think McInnes is a good manager, but I'm not so sure. I think the job would eat him up. It's a massive step up for going about with Aberdeen and English clubs to come to a club that you're known as a player for so many years and get it right. And it's a hell of a lot of pressure. It's a heavy goldfish bowl. He knows it, he played in it, but to manage it the way we are right now, I don't think he would handle it.
No. By the way, there is more rumours now circulating that the manager has walked. I don't see the manager walking. To be brutally honest with you, I don't see. And look, if we take ourselves away from it, right, and you just plonk somebody in our position on this podcast who's got no affiliation to Rangers, I guarantee you they would say, would you walk away from millions of pounds? Would you?
No. That's why that's why your big man Park doesn't want to go anywhere, didn't he know? Because he's quite happy taking his couple of $100,000 a month and no sell his shares to anybody that wants to buy us. He's a top class twat.
Well, yes, he is. Yes, he is. And on that note, that's the perfect note, by the way, to leave the reaction. And I'm being deadly serious about that. Because I mean, I would probably get this podcast took off YouTube if I gave you my honest opinion on Douglas Park. So I'm not going to bother. Folks, listen, I appreciate you all tuning in and watching. I hope that this has been some kind of therapy for some people. It's certainly not been for me, so so I doubt it has been for you. We are back. If by the way, if the rumours are true and we find out in the next half an hour, I will be back. I will be back online. But failing that, we're back tomorrow at 12:30. Tomorrow night, 7:30, and then we'll have a wee something for the members later on Friday night. So thank you for all the super chats, all the support, all the likes, all the shares, everything, all the subscriptions. Superb, guys. The support that you show is unparalleled. It's fantastic. So thank you very much. Iain, Kenny, thank you for joining me in what was an extremely difficult reaction. Another extremely difficult reaction. I need to stop scheduling Kenny on the reactions. I think that's probably what's causing all this. So we'll see what happens the next time if Kenny's not on. So, folks, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll all speak very, very soon.